Welcome to the Ultimate 7 build guide. In this video, we're going to show you how to have fun and dominate with 7. Not only is this build meme levels of fun, it is genuinely extremely strong, if not the strongest 7 build in the game. I kid you not, since actually figuring this build out when refining it a couple weeks ago, I have over an 85% win rate. And the best part is, since no one plays this build and it's completely off meta, everyone is completely confused. No one has any idea what's going on, and hardly anyone ever counters you. And guess what? This build takes almost no aiming skill. You literally just shoot people in the face while they stand still. What is not to love? So in this video, I'm going to go over how 7's abilities actually work, how I use them in this build. Then we'll go over how to actually play the build in terms of game plan and how to use the item timing correctly. And then finally, we're going to go over the items, why and when we choose what we do, and how to maximize their potential. So 7, just like every other hero in the game, has 4 basic abilities, as well as a burst shot rifle, which is rather unique. And his most unique feature, he shows his butt when he parries.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
So 7's first ability, Lightning Ball. This might come as a shock to you, but it is in fact a ball of lightning.
The woman was too stunned to speak.
Yep, that's right. It's a ball of lightning. It does damage in an AoE around the center sphere here. As you can tell, it does quite a bit of damage. Even at level 1 with no items, we almost just did 400 DPS. This is, in my opinion, 7's strongest ability. It's not because it's your absolutely game-changing carry at the end of the game, or something that we necessarily build around. It's just, it sets you up for the greatest games of your life. Absolutely stomps in lane. The reason for that is because level 1, you get +1 charges. This means that it's also a charge ability, comboing with extra charges. So now, for a 500 soul investment, we have a 23-second cooldown, 3 charge ability that, when it gets its full duration, does almost 400 damage. This is enough to clear most early game creep waves. This is enough to almost kill a full 500 health hero at the beginning of the game. And not only that, at level 5, we get +70 DPS in a 1 meter radius, meaning almost at exactly 7 to 8 minutes in the game, assuming we're even or doing well on souls, we now have just unlocked the strongest farming ability in the game that now has 3 charges and a 23-second cooldown. This means that every 23 seconds, you can pretty much guarantee a full camp clear with 1 ability. Okay? And that is why 7 is the strongest farmer in the game and what sets him up to be such an insane hyper carry, because Lightning Ball is broken. Now, a little tip and tricks with the Lightning Ball is to remember that Lightning Ball has infinite range, okay? I could throw this anywhere on the map. It goes anywhere. The only thing that matters is when the little center ball here actually hits a solid object that's not a creep or a hero or something that can break. It will sit on it. For instance, if this guy wanted to go into that door right now, and I knew that he wanted to go in that door, what I would do is I would throw it like this. And the reason for that is it would hit him, it would slow down, and it would continue to follow him to the door, assuming he was backing up. Meaning, I would get more DPS with my Lightning Ball. However, let's say he was over here, and I knew that he wanted to go into the door. Would I throw it like this? No, probably not. I'd probably want to, first off, angle myself as much as possible, and throw it on the door right here. So that way, you know, obviously you want as much of the Lightning Ball radius hitting where his path is. So a good idea is, like, if they're going somewhere and you know they are, you can throw a ball there and just hold it there. That way they have to walk through the ball. Or, if you want it to follow them, remember to throw it in a way where it doesn't hit the ground. If you do this, you'd be surprised at how much stronger your lightning balls are and how much you could really piss someone off, especially when they're trying to back up and get away from you and they just continue to walk into your ball. This means that usually a good player will have to expend a stamina bar to get out of your ball and go left and then back up, which is just really great. So if you get really good at it, though, if I want him to back up, if I know he's backing up into that wall, instead of throwing it like this, right, where it's going to go all the way back, I can do something like this. Meaning, now it's going to go where he is, and then it's still going to hit the wall, so now he can't go anywhere and he's stuck out here. Lightning Ball is actually a pretty high skill ability once you kind of understand the gist of how all that stuff works. Slowing it down in creep waves, slowing it down in heroes, aiming it at certain angles so it hits where you want. It's just really, really good, and it's also incredibly simple to use. It's just his best ability. It's just so strong. And now, for the centerpiece of this build, Static Charge. Static Charge is actually extremely simple. It is a targeted stun that after 3.5 seconds stuns and does a little bit of damage in an AoE around the target you threw it on. This also is self-castable, meaning I can cast it on myself and go like, oh, hey, what's up, man? Oh, hey, how's it going on? Shit, oh, yeah. A really fun thing to do with Static Charge in the landing phase is wait for it about to go off, be like, hey, what's up, buddy? And then if they try to, you know, parry you, they're going to get stunned before your thing goes off, and you get to get basically 2 punches in. It's really, really strong. I don't see a lot of people doing that, but they never see it coming. because they think like, oh, I'm just gonna parry this idiot, and then you're like, no, actually, you're gonna get mini stunned before my punch lands because I'm better than you and I'm a better player. So in terms of leveling up, we do not level static charge even a little bit before our lightning ball is fully leveled. The reason for that is because I think the first two here are mostly useless. Yes, 19-second cooldown is very strong in the laning stage because obviously just like a nice little harass on them constantly and annoying them is good in the laning stage. It might even be better than lightning ball. However, it does not increase your farm speed really at all. Takes all the way to level 5 to increase your kill potential, which means in lane, it's just not all that great, and I really don't think it's worth leveling up. However, the way you use it in lane, and looks like I use it pretty much the entire game, is try to combo it with your lightning ball, right? So I throw it on here, and I have two options. I can wait till he's stunned to throw my lightning ball. That way I guarantee at least a little bit of lightning ball damage on him. Or what most people do, and it's probably the correct thing to do, especially in the early phases of the game, maybe not later, but in the early phases of the game, is to throw it right as he's about to get stunned and where he's trying to go. The reason you don't want to do this in the later stages of the game, because if he, in the later stages of the game, let's say, you know, he does have a stamina remaining and he gets out of it right as, you know, as he's about to get stunned. Missing your lightning ball damage in the later stages of the game is almost basically missing a kill. Doing it in the early stages of the game, you're just missing a few DPS. Because when you have nearly the 2-second stun, missing the lightning ball on that is a much bigger deal than the 0.9-second one, right? It's like a huge difference. So late game, wait till he's stunned. Early game, try to, you know, time it. That's kind of my advice with this. Other than that, it's very, very straightforward. Don't forget you can cast it on yourself. It has a pretty massive AoE. And yeah, this is kind of what we build around in the late game because most people just don't understand how strong this can be when you start stacking it. How do we build around it, though? It's pretty simple. Superior Duration and Echo Shard. That's why this build is so strong. We have now just unlocked a third completely broken OP ability that's slept on for, what, 10,000 souls? We just unlocked a new hyper ability. Now we have the ability to stun people for almost 5 seconds for free. Now I'm going to hit him with it. Oh, wow. That's crazy. Oh, you're perma-stun for almost my entire duration of my lightning ball for 10,000 souls? Fantastic. Oh my god, it's so broken. And let's not forget, I can self-cast it. Right? Now I'm gonna do this. Oh man, oh, you're trying to get up? Oh, you're back down. Oh darn, sorry buddy. And don't forget, this isn't a massive, massive AoE around you. Especially in the late game, once we get Magic Harpit, Mystic Reach, all this stuff. It now is basically like our entire screen of a radius, and we're stunning entire teams. It's extremely slept on and extremely strong. All right, so I'm gonna talk about our third ability, Power Surge. Power Surge is pretty straightforward. You activate it, and it adds spirit damage to your bullets. The spirit damage can also, like a lightning bolt, proc to other nearby enemies. The range is 10 meters. It's pretty freaking long, especially when you have Mystic Reach and other stuff like that. 10 meters and a max of 3 jumps at level 1, and a max of 6 jumps at level 3. This is absolutely how we carry in the late game. This is our bread and butter late game ability. In fact, almost every single meta 7 build maxes this first or even second, okay? This is really how we're going to carry our games. A lot of people talk about why are we maxing this third? That's super bizarre. That really goes against all of the known things about 7. And we're going to talk about that during the playstyle portion of this game. Talk about how this all comes together to make our abilities OP. But first, let's get into the basis of Power Surge. Power Surge at level 1, we almost always grab an early power point because the shock damage applies minus 50% spirit resist for 8 seconds is too damn good to not just grab, okay? It is literally just 15% more spirit damage on our lightning ball, on our Power Surge, on anything else we have, okay? It's just too damn good not to go. The 15-second cooldown is really important for the late game portion of this build because the 15-second cooldown with some items allows you to pretty much to have a permanent Power Surge up at all times during the game. And the most important, the absolute thing that makes this broken is level 3. Level 3 adds 12 base shock damage, which is already a lot, but also improves our spirit scaling, meaning the more spirit damage power we have from items, the more damage this will do at a higher rate, and increases our jumps. So now, if we're in a team fight situation, this will now jump to pretty much every single person on the enemy team, and it'll add Mystic Exposure or whatever else we have in our build to them. It's just too damn strong. It is absolutely one of, if not the strongest hyper carry abilities in the game. Another important thing to note about the Power Surge ability that many people don't talk about is the closer you are, unlike almost every other single instance of spirit damage in the game, will actually affect the amount of spirit damage you do. So if we're all the way back here, our spirit damage actually has fall off just like normal bullets. See, we're doing 11, 13, we're doing basically nothing. We come up here and we're already doing more than we ever did. So spirit fall off is actually a thing on Power Surge, unlike every single other instance of your abilities. So just keep that in mind, that distance actually makes a huge deal on 7 in the late game when it comes to Power Surge. So finally, our fourth ability, Storm Cloud. Storm Cloud is another very simple 7 ability. You jump in the air, you ult, you do AoE and a damage around you. That's very obvious. The DPS is right there, 151. This ability sucks. And why does it suck? Why is it by far his worst ability? And I don't think it's even close. It's very simple. You cannot be spirit clouding and ulting things and shooting them with Power Surge and Lightning Ball at the same time. You can't be stunning them. You can't be surge. You can't do anything else. Okay, you can only ult. That's why it's bad. Also why it's bad, let's say if I'm sitting up there ulting like it was earlier, if I'm the enemy team, I go, yo, this guy is fucking doing shit to me, man. I'm gonna walk over here and I'm just gonna chill. And also, I can actually do this. I can hide behind this wall and just shoot you. Why take no damage? Okay, it's got some exploits to it. Okay, it's got some really big annoyances. But that being said, there are 3 instances where you should almost always cast your Storm Cloud. The first instance is you just got it in the early game. In the early game, it's a pretty big AoE and it does a lot of damage. When you first get it, the Storm Cloud DPS is probably going to out DPS your Lightning Ball and your right clicks. So usually at that point, Storm Cloud is pretty good. The second option is when you're just about to die and you have like a level or 2 in Storm Cloud, or none even. And you have some spirit, we have some spirit lifesteal items. So just as we're about to die, I'm gonna die, oh god, but there's like creeps around you or people around you. Now all the AoE spirit damage you're doing will usually be enough spirit lifesteal to keep you alive for a lot longer, or even save your life completely. Now option 3, the most common option, is, you know, we're fighting a guy and he's just about to die and we're like, hey dude, can you please die, sir? Please go ahead and do that for me, dog. But then we run out of bullets, and he has like a little bit of life left. We're like, oh no, that's when you ult, right? So instead of sitting there reloading and doing no damage to him, we just kind of cast our ultimate on him. And hopefully that kills him. Yep, that's pretty much his ultimate. It's not very good, but it does have some very good use cases. And those are them. And now it's time for the playstyle portion of the build. How do we actually play this build? Well, the first thing we do is we're going to max Lightning Ball. The reason we max Lightning Ball first, and one, it's obviously very strong in lane, as we talked about earlier, but the timing as to when we get our level 3 Lightning Ball matches up almost perfectly with the 8-minute mark in the game. Meaning, at 8 minutes, the lane creeps start giving you full value, assuming you're solo laning, and all of the camps start spawning. So, then becomes the perfect time to push the lane, usually not with your Lightning Ball, usually actually just attacking the creeps normally, because they're much squishier than camps. So pushing the lane creeps, sometimes using your Lightning Ball, obviously, whatever. And then pushing it out and then running, either getting the Guardian here, or just running and going and farming a camp. If you're doing this, you are going to have the most farm in the game. You do not have to worry about fighting, you don't have to worry about any of that, because no one is going to be able to kill camps as fast as you, early as you can, period. No one has Lightning Ball. No one can farm camps that fast. Not anybody. Not in Furnace, not your mom, not your dad, nobody, okay? Okay, so now that we're ready to farm and we're farming our brains out, now it's time to start maxing static charge. The entire build at this point is to farm as fast as possible. This is why we go move speed items out the wazoo. Mystic Reach, so our Lightning Ball has a bigger AoE, can farm more camps. Fleet Foot, that's right, so we can move around faster, get to camps faster. Enduring Speed, so we can get to camps faster. Everything right now is revolving around farming as fast as possible to hit our power spike as fast as possible. And that's why we're maxing static charge, because normally, yes, Power Surge would go first or second. You'd want to max this as fast as possible. But we're ignoring this because we're simply focusing on farming. I'm not even going to try to fight anyone. I'm simply going to push out lanes, avoid team fights at all possible. If you do need to team fight, I mean, you got to, right? They're like pushing into your base. You got to team fight. You got to do it. It's unfortunate. You're probably going to lose anyway at that point. So I don't think it really matters. But our point here is we're going to avoid fighting and avoid using Power Surge in fights because we just want to farm. That's our playstyle, right? We're going to be pushing lanes, ignoring farming until we hit our power spike. Now, our power spike is absolutely insane. Is what I really think makes sacrificing our damage and getting our damage going up quickly, because static charge power spike is absolutely insane. Why is it so insane? Well, by the time we have a maxed out Lightning Ball, a 1 point in Power Surge, and a maxed out static charge, you'll have exactly enough souls to buy all of this in Echo Shard. Echo Shard with Superior Duration, and then in the later game, magic carpet and knockdown allows you to do the most insane shit ever. It allows you to do this. And this dude's just going to casually be on the ground and allow me to shoot him in the head because he's not moving for my entire magazine. Okay? I just unloaded my entire clip point blank of that dude's face with a lightning ball on him, and he couldn't do a damn thing about it. All right? That's the power of your power spike. That is literally it. You max this, you get a echo shard, and then you have a 5 to 6 second stun, depending on if you also get knockdown and stuff. Now, assuming you don't have knockdown or magic carpet, it's still like a 5 second stun, so it's huge. It is absolutely most of your power spike. In fact, you really don't even need to go this unless you know, you want to or you need to team fight now. And that's why we don't go power surge, because the power spike on static charge, assuming we can avoid team fighting during the mid game, is just too damn insane. It's absolutely broken. All right, so now let's do a tutorial of how to hit the full 7 second stun. Now it's not 7 seconds anymore because it got nerfed, but it's like 6.8 or something. So I'm just calling it 7 second. Leave me alone. All right, so it's actually pretty simple. The easiest way to hit this, assuming you're not being countered, right? You do have to watch out for counters. We'll get to that later. Assuming you're not being countered, which at this point in the game, you probably won't be. That's definitely more of a late game situation because, again, no one is going to be ready for you to stun them like this, right? No one's going to be like, oh, I got to build this because 7's in the game. No one's going to do that, right? They're going to... Only good players will react to what's happening to them in the later stages of the game after they realize what you're doing, okay? So this is how you do it. You throw a static charge, then you hit him almost instantly with a knockdown, refresh, and then the second the knockdown goes off, you throw another static charge. The reason for that, you probably want to hit it almost a little bit before the knockdown goes off. So basically the order of events are static charge, it's a 3.5 second delay before it stuns. So you throw that first, wait a half second, knockdown is a 2 second delay with a little over a second stun. So we basically throw static charge, throw knockdown. At that point, the like 0.3 seconds or whatever it is, like little interval there, is going to be covered. So we don't really worry too much about that. And then the second knockdown hits means we have a 1.2 second knockdown duration and then a 2.5 second stun duration, which almost adds up exactly to 3.5 seconds, which is the delay on static charge. So it makes it actually pretty easy to hit your timings. So it's just like you throw static charge, wait a little bit, knockdown, and then the second knockdown hits, we throw another one. All right. You almost want to throw it like right before knockdown hits to actually perma-stun him, but most people aren't going to be able to get away in like the 0.1 seconds there. But to be safe, it's probably better to throw it right before knockdown hits. And it's pretty easy to tell when knockdown hits because the anvil like flips up on top of itself. So now that we know how to get the full stun duration off, let's talk about situational things. So if somebody does have debuff remover, right, which is something people go, oh, just debuff remover. First off, debuff remover barely does jack shit to this build, man. 35% debuff resist is the biggest thing it does. You might think, oh, I removed debuffs. Yeah, but it only removes one instance. So if I just throw one, I know a guy has debuff remover. He's like, okay, I don't get stunned. I'm like, guess what, brother? I got 2 more over here. Are you ready for this? No, he's not. Okay, so like, whoop your dick. And an even bigger counter to debuff remover that people don't realize is like, okay, can you remove this debuff, huh? How about you remove this, buddy? Yeah, you can't because you don't know what's gonna happen, do you? What do you debuff remove nothing? Because he can't debuff remove when he's stunned, right? And if I don't cast it on him, he can't remove the charge. So if you self-cast it and run at them, that's another counter. Now, the real big brain counter that I almost don't want to put in this video because I don't want people to know about it, okay? But I'm gonna be secret, guys. Don't use this against me in a game. It's Ethereal Shift, all right? Ethereal Shift is the actual counter. Late game, with cooldown reduction that most people do have in their builds, the active goes down from 32 seconds to like 16 or 17 seconds, I think. And it's a 3.5 second duration, meaning just basically casting this is like, okay, the entire first like group of stuns, you just nullify them and then you come out and you're stronger. So the way to deal with this is if the guy is actually carrying his team, you might want to consider going for like a curse or something. Or the more sensible option that kind of half counters it is like, just throw them on him in a delayed situation, right? Like, just like, okay, I'm going to throw one at you. And then he's going to use it. And you're like, okay, I have my other 2 ready now. So when you come out of it, I'm going to throw a static charge and a knockdown on you, right? At least that way he can't completely get out of it. And since he doesn't have debuff remover, the first group of stuns are actually still going to be really powerful, right? It's still going to be almost a 3.5 second stun, and that should be good enough to kill him in most situations. Now, it's not the full, like, 6.5, 7 second stun, but if people want to spend 3,000 gold on items to counter you, then I guess, you know, that's any carry in the game, right? Any carry in the game, Haze and Furnace, they all have items that counter their builds. That's how deadlock works. If something is super broken, there needs to be a counterplay against it, and that is this situation, right? That's how they're going to counter you in a good game. You just got to be mindful of them having the item and try not to blow your entire load on someone who has Ethereal Shift or someone who has debuff remover. You just got to keep it in mind to space it out on them. And most of the time they won't have it because, again, no one is going to pre-build this stuff for you if you're playing 7, because no one thinks you're going to do it. No one's ready for it. So now that we know how to get the full duration stun off as best as we can, even in all situations, what do we do now? Like, what's the difference between this build and a normal 7 build? Well, the biggest difference is generally Magic Carpet and how to team fight, right? So assuming we have Magic Carpet, which is really how I like to pull this off, is that there will be a team fight going on, and most of the time, again, since we have the insane farm that we do, we're going to be split pushing, doing other stuff somewhere else on the map, and a fight's going to break out. We're not going to be there for it, right? We don't need to be there for it, because even if our entire team dies, assuming we're ahead on souls, which we almost always will be, even if we're the worst player in the game, we'll almost still always be ahead on souls because 7 just farms that fast, right? This is the only other situation in the game where I think having Stormcloud and using Stormcloud is really, really good. The reason for that is Stormcloud and Escalating Exposure work really well together. And if you are truly in a massive AoE situation where there are 3 to 6 other people you're hitting with your abilities, Stormcloud might actually be better than Power Surge. I actually don't know. Probably be pretty close. Power Surge is still insanely strong. I mean, I don't know. It's close, but let's just assume that Stormcloud is the best thing to do in this situation. What's gonna happen is you're gonna fly in on your Magic Carpet from a lane over. They're gonna be like, okay, we killed 4 of them. We're pushing in their base. This is great. Let's continue to take out these Guardians, right? You just walk in and you go, oh, are you sure about that, buddy? Because now they're all dead, and you might think, well, they're low level. That's true. I'm not kidding you. I have done this several times in games. It works almost every time because, first off, they're not ready for the one guy to come on a Magic Carpet and throw a stun on them. And if they are, let's say I throw it on this guy and he goes, oh, I got a stun on me. I got to get away. Well, look at the damn radius on that thing. The whole team gets stunned. You got to run very, very far away. And don't forget, I got my second one, which I usually will throw on another dude. So even if he runs away, they both have to run away in separate directions to not stun the entire team. And in this situation, when the entire team is stunned for almost 2.5, 3 seconds, 3 seconds of your ult is probably going to almost kill all of them, especially when you have escalating exposure, okay? And most of the time, if you hit 2 of them, which you will, a good chunk of the time, they're all going to die. You're literally going to 1v6 entire teams with this sometimes, and you're going to cum your pants, and you're going to thank me. You're going to come to the comment section and go, dude, I did it. I 1v6 an entire team, and I came my pants. Thank you, Neetoro, okay? Now, it's everybody's favorite part of the video, itemization. This is when we're going to go over what the items do, when to buy items, when to not buy items, what order to get them in. This should really help you, take you from like doing the build 80% to 90, 95%, 100% even of optimization. So order at which you buy these is actually pretty varied because depending on the lane tempo, you're going to want different things, right? That's always, if you're really far ahead in the lane and you want to kill people, obviously getting things like sprint boots or extra stamina or spirit lifesteal is not going to necessarily help you finish your kills. That's more sustained. So just keep that in mind when you're buying items when I talk about certain things. It really depends on the tempo. However, I really don't think you could go wrong just buying everything in order. This build is actually surprisingly straightforward as all hell until like the later stages of the game because it's super, super well optimized. People have really figured out how to play 7 at this point. He's one of the more popular heroes. He's really broken. A lot of the pros are playing him. So everything is actually pretty optimized. Let's talk about why we get things and when to buy them. So monster rounds is really only not good for when you're trying to, if you're like playing in a harassy role in the lane, monster rounds is not going to really help you do that. But in every other situation, it is very, very good. It allows you to farm faster as it gives us more weapon damage against NPCs, gives us more health and more HP regen. It's really just everything we want in one item except for maybe harass. It's really, really good. It's definitely a core item. We get this every time, no matter what, pretty much. Sprint boots give us everything we want. It gives us weapon damage, which allows us to farm faster, HP regen, which allows us to stay in the lane longer, and sprint speed, which allows us to farm faster and get away from things. They're great. Enduring Spirit, again, gives us some of everything we want. It gives us Sustained by Spirit Lifesteal, Spirit Power, which allows our 1 to do more damage, and bonus health. Very simple, absolutely a core item. Gonna want in almost every game. Extra Recharge. Extra Recharge is absolutely broken on 7. If you're ahead in lane and you buy this really, really early, you're going to absolutely piss them off because you're going to be able to constantly spam your 1 at them all the time. Like, you can throw your 2-1 over and over and over again and just make them absolutely hate you. It also gives you weapon damage, which allows us to last it faster, harass better. It's just great. It's way too good. You got to get it every game. Now, extra stamina. This is one of, it's not quite as good as our other items because it's not super core to us. We don't always absolutely need it, but it's just really, really good. It allows us to get around the map faster, get out of sticky situations faster because of the 1 extra stamina, and our stamina recovery getting a 60% increase is actually kind of underlooked because this allows us to get around the map faster, right? It allows us to jump around, go quicker, using our stamina, regenerating it faster, more farm, more items, more farm. You love it. Basic magazine is just, it's just too good of a freaking early game weapon item. 26% more ammo, flat 15% weapon damage. That is basically the bonus on Hollow Point Ward. And you get 26% more ammo in your magazine. It's just too damn good to pass up. Hollow Point Ward. This is another tool where you can go this really early if you're dominating in lane, because it gives you 22% weapon damage plus the 6% weapon damage. You're getting 28% weapon damage and 4 spirit power and the spirit shield health, which is actually really nice of stopping of getting, if you're playing against people like Grey Talon or Kelvin or old lady who throws grenades. This is actually really, really nice to help you stop getting harassed as much. It's just a good item. People sleep on the spirit shield health. And then an item that you probably want to go for at about, I'd say 60-70% of your lanes, because after you kill an opponent, buying a healing right when you're low HP and you just killed someone is almost necessary, or they're just going to come back and kill you, okay? That 20 seconds you have before they get back, maybe a little less, is huge. The apps, just use your healing right on yourself. Don't have to worry about getting hit, and you can still last hit. It's really, really strong in those situations. Or if you're just getting really, really beat up, I don't even know if it's that great because you have to hide. So it's like, if you have to go and hide and use it, you might as well just go back to base, right? But if you're have time to use it when, like, you know, you kill someone or stuff like that, this is actually when it's really good. Spirit Lifesteal, it's just a lot of sustain. It's so much sustain. It's absolutely fantastic. However, this is one of the things you really don't have to go every game, because if you don't have to worry about keeping yourself alive or sustained in lane, you can grab a Divine Barrier. Divine Barrier is better if we do not need the Spirit Lifesteal. However, Spirit Lifesteal is really hard to pass up, so most of the time we're probably going to want to go that. But you can grab a Divine Barrier. Divine Barrier is really good because it gives us ability range, which makes our stun AoE larger, makes our ult AoE larger, makes our lightning ball ability larger. It gives us 50 base HP, 1 sprint speed, again, faster farming, and our active gives us +2 move speed at all times, last 5 seconds, 30-second cooldown. So it allows us to get around the map faster. It gives us more farming potential. So if we do not need Spirit Lifesteal, we probably want to go Divine Barrier because we still want the survivability. We want to use our Vitality slot, and it's the same price as Spirit Lifesteal. Now, farm time. We go Mystic Reach during the farm time and when we're ready to go get camps because it increases the size of our Lightning Ball. This is why we go Mystic Reach. We don't go for really any other region at this point. It simply just increases the size of our Lightning Ball AoE, allowing it to hit more things like on creep waves, in camps, all that stuff. Duration Extender, pretty much the same exact thing. This really juices up our Lightning Ball. Adds a lot of damage, not only because we get 8 spirit power from it, but also it makes it last longer, and the longer it lasts, the more damage it can do, obviously, okay? Fleetfoot. Fleetfoot is really good because of the movement speed, and we get some temporary ammo when we activate it, which is nice. And Slide Distance is actually really, really nice. People kind of sleep on that a little bit, but you don't really understand the value of a 25% slide distance, but when you're jumping around and like scooting, it's actually really nice. So you really want that. Now, Enduring Speed is just too damn good. The movement slow resist is just absolutely broken. You need this every game, no matter what, on every fucking hero. You just have to have this. This is like boots in a MOBA. You just need this, okay? I'm not even going to comment on that. Now, this is what it's all leading to. Superior Duration. Superior Duration, again, is really, really good. Increases the duration of our Power Surge, increases the duration of our Lightning Ball, increases the duration of our Static Charge, and increases the duration of our ult, but usually it's not really that important to have for that, but it increases the duration of everything. It is super, super strong, and it goes right into our Echo Shard, and this is when, as we talked about in the Playstyle portion of this is when we pop off. This gives us movement speed, faster farming, just straight up movement speed, 60% bullet resist, and 12 spirit power on top of the 16 it already gives us. This is item, not even considering the refresh, is absolutely broken. Not only does this now give us the 10-second stun, or the 5-second stun combo, we can use our Lightning Ball twice. So now we can rapid farm with our Lightning Ball. We can almost pretty much always have Power Surge on cooldown because we activate it. And since Echo Shard has a way shorter cooldown than Power Surge, we can always have Power Surge up for all our farming. It is absolutely broken in so many more ways than just our knockdown. So this is why we go Echo Shard every single game. You don't even think about it. You rush Echo Shard as fast as possible. We have reached the point of the game where now we have some options. Going knockdown in Magic Carpet is certainly not always necessary. Sometimes it's just a little bit overkill, and really what you want is you just want more damage to kill people when they're stunned in front of you, right? In that case, I would actually say most of the time, going the knockdown in Magic Carpet is more of a meme thing to do because it's just like adding the extra second and a half to the stun is a lot of overkill for almost 9,200 souls. But don't get me wrong, these are very strong items anyways. 150 health, 15 spirit power, 15% ability duration, which again, we love ability duration, not only for our stun, but for everything we have on our kit. And knockdown is just a good item. I mean, it gives you 6 spirit power and 200 spirit shield health, which again, we love spirit shield health, stops us from getting bursted, and it gives us a stamina, more speed. I mean, these items are very, very good, not only because they go with our build, but also just like they have some pretty strong innates as well that kind of combo with us a little bit. There's no doubt about in my mind, the better items are definitely Soul Shredder Bullets. Soul Shredder Bullets is huge on 7. A lot of people actually just straight up rush Soul Shredder Bullets for how good they are. They give us weapon damage and Spirit Amp. Spirit Life Steal just gives us everything we want. Surge of Power, again, really, really good on 7 when you imbue it on your 3. When you use your 3 is now gets 34 Spirit Ability Power. 2 move speed. You get 2 move speed. Again, we're going to be zooming, absolutely zooming. And we get a fire rate bonus, which we absolutely love. Mystic Vulnerability. This is just 12% more damage on pretty much everything you got. It's too good to pass up. It's amazing. Superior Cooldown. Superior Cooldown is great because it now allows us to keep our Lightning Ball up at all times without the need for extra recharge. That's why it's so good. And it allows us to cast Static Charge a lot more often. Like the big thing is like Static Charge will now be able, almost will be able to use Static Charge and then refresh and then throw Static Charge again. And then actually, because now you see it's like a really long cooldown. So actually being able to use it 3 or 4 times in a fight is a big deal. So Superior Cooldown is great. This also allows us at this point to pretty much have a permanent power surge as well. So Superior Cooldown, Spirit Duration gives us an infinite power surge, increases our stun capabilities by a lot, allowing us to actually use it 3 or even 4 times in a fight instead of just the default 2, because you're almost never getting it off 3 times in a fight without Superior Cooldown. And of course, it allows us to throw more lightning balls without the need for extra charge. Okay, a lot of people will go increase charges as well. I kind of want to talk about this. A lot of people will go a rapid charge on 7, and I found that going rapid charge is kind of a bait because, again, you pretty much get infinite balls with superior cooldown at that point anyway. So going the extra 3,000 it would cost to get extra charge, you just sell it and then go superior cooldown instead. It does basically the same thing, except this also affects every other ability you have, and I don't think it's worth it to get both because you definitely want this for your 2. And so having both is just complete overkill and you don't need it. So you might as well just get superior cooldown and not the other one. Now, escalating exposure is our biggest damage jump. After you get escalating exposure, you pretty much don't need damage anymore. You're going to kill everything because this is going to be able to get 7 or 8 stacks during the stun. And no one is surviving 7 or 8 stacks of spirit amp on top of everything else you have. It's too much damage. Leech got buffed and now gives you weapon damage and cooldown reduction, which we both really love. Obviously, it makes us really tanky, gives us HP, bullet lifesteal, which we both do. We do bullet lifesteal and spirit lifesteal. So, unlike most things, like if you stack a lot of spirit lifesteal now, like when you start getting over 50% spirit lifesteal, it really starts diminishing. Since we're playing 7, we don't get the diminishing lifesteal because we actually do bullet damage and spirit lifesteal, right? So, we're getting benefits from both of these without the stacking debuff removal crap. Titanic Magazine got buffed recently. It's just too good not to get. It gives you melee resist and spirit resist. And spirit resist is actually a pretty rare thing in this game, especially considering how much spirit damage there is and how most items actually don't have it except proof spirit armor. And I think Phantom Strike. And we don't want Phantom Strike, right? So Titanic Magazine is really, really good. Superior Stamina kind of speaks for itself. Gives us fire rate, gives us spirit power, which we both love those things. Gives us a ton of extra stamina. At this point, we can air dump and jash around forever and forever and forever. We're extremely mobile, and it's just a really solid item. And Proof Reach is actually not as good as you would think it is, but it's absolutely amazing on our stun for the simple fact that now we can stun almost entire teams with it. It's almost impossible to run away when someone gets static charge next to you because it's like a 16-meter radius or something. It's ridiculous. It's you can now just stun entire teams with it. It's really broken. Spiritual Overflow is just really, really good. It gives us fire rate and spirit power as we attack. We like that a lot. It also gives us spirit lifesteal, which we like. Cooldown direction we will take. We don't mind it. It's not huge on 7, but it's just overall a lot more damage with our right clicks and power surging. Unstoppable is just a good slot filler. It's one of the best late game slot fillers in the game in terms of a vitality slot. It allows us, gives us spirit power, bullet resist, which we like, and makes it so we can't be stunned or slept. You can't really go wrong with it. Boundless Spirit is just a fuck it, do more damage item. That's really simple as that. It just makes everything stronger, better, faster, tankier, sprint speed, just everything. But it's extremely expensive. So usually we don't go that until we have fuck you money. The situational items, these are mostly self-explanatory. Heal Bane is really, really good when you're playing against Abrams, Infernus, people who heal a lot, Shiv, stuff like that, because you automatically do a lot of spirit damage. It's pretty much just free healing reduction. It's 40%. You might as well probably go this a good chunk of games. However, if you're not playing against anyone who has a lot of regen, there's absolutely no reason to go this. But most people probably, in most games, you're going to have someone who has quite a bit of regen on the enemy team. And you might as well go it. It's a 1250 slot item. If you really need to, you could just sell it later. If you don't want to, you want to fill it up with a really big item slot. Or if you just have overwhelming damage and you don't need it, then that's fine. Metal Skin is really good when you're getting absolutely domed by people like Haze or people like Mirage if they're going headshot build. Wraith is a big person to use this on because Wraith has a kill time on you when she stuns you. So Metal Skin is really good for that. Curse, like we talked about during the stunning phase, Curse is really good against people who are using items to get out of your stuns, or people who are just super evasive because it gives us weapon damage and spirit power anyway, which we like. So it's not a big loss, but generally speaking, you're not going to want to get this unless you really have to. Toxic Bullets is when you're getting absolutely dominated by someone who's healing too much. At this point, if you're going against a Shiv who's just carrying the enemy team, then Furnace who's carrying the enemy team, Abrams who's carrying the enemy team, chances are they're going to be healing a lot, and you're going to need Toxic Bullets, Heal Bane to take them down. Spirit Armor is for when the enemy team just has a lot of spirit damage, and it's just too good of an item to pass up. 45% Spirit Res against a team that's doing like 70 or 80% of their damage as Spirit. It's just too much resistance to pass up on. You're going to have to go it. Same thing with Bullet Armor. I usually don't go both of these things, but sometimes you might. Usually not, though. I usually only go one. And Divine Barrier, we talked about earlier. This is a Spirit Lifesteal replacement when you don't need a lot of Spirit Lifesteal because you're ahead or you're not really worried about dying. You can use this to increase your farm speed and all that other stuff. All right, that is pretty much it. It's a much more straightforward item build than it is on Infernus because it's there's not as much variations in the build because the build is very optimized. You pretty much just go the same thing almost every game and you're going to have a great time. The really only question is you have to ask yourself, do I want to go a team fight stunny build or do I want to just go max my damage? Most of the time, you're just going to max your damage if you're trying to win. However, Magic Carpet and Knockdown can absolutely take you from being mediocre to being the absolute 1v6 god in the late game because showing up with Magic Carpet in a 7-second stun in the middle of a fight is just really, really, really strong. And Magic Carpet, like we said, is a really good item. So I don't think you're wrong for rushing Magic Carpet and just going for the stun, but it's more of a meme thing. Usually you're probably going to grab it after you grab Time to Kill and maybe Escalating Exposure and then go Magic Carpet. If I'm going to win, that's what I usually do. But if you're going for memes, going Magic Carpet and just rushing it and hitting people with a 7-second stun is really fun. Anyway, that's the video, guys. If you want another video like this and you're a newer player and you just want to absolutely dominate every game you've ever played, check out my Infernus guide here. And yeah, thanks for watching.